The Mandalorian Season 3 has concluded, and in this video, I'll be ranking all 3 seasons from worst to best. So without further delays, let's start off with last place, and that is The Mandalorian Season 1. This was a good season, and that's about it. It was a good introduction to a show and to characters that'll have a big impact down the road. It is the first live-action Star Wars TV show, and it was really well received. Star Wars was alive once more, and this time in the form of live-action shows. It was the start of the new era of Star Wars, and it started off good. The Mandalorians are an interesting faction, especially for those who have watched Clone Wars. It was interesting to see the remains of the Mandalorians, as well as who they are and what they are doing. Having a Mandalorian as a bounty hunter was a neat idea, and it was really badass. If the Mandalorians didn't interest you though, there was always Baby Yoda. Whether it was because of his species or because of how cute he was, he did a great job at bringing fans from all across the fandom. A lot of normies watched this and they enjoyed it. It was the first Star Wars since the original trilogy that everyone unanimously agreed was good. And it was. We got to see what it's like being a cold bounty hunter, and how a cold-hearted individual could turn into being a father. Combine that with a great villain that's trying to take away that fatherhood from the Mandalorian, and you've got a great story and the first season of The Mandalorian. To be honest, I think that looking back, it was a bit overrated, but nonetheless, it was good. It was plain and simple, with not much to it, and that was part of the beauty of it. Nothing crazy or fancy, just plain good old Star Wars, and who doesn't want that? Next up, in second place, we got The Mandalorian Season 3. Again, this was great, but to be honest, it wasn't as good as I was expecting it to be, and it wasn't better than The Mandalorian Season 2. It took a bit of a step back. However, it is still The Mandalorian, and there are some really good and interesting parts to it. It was slow, but the one thing that was really nice was the fact that it was one continuous story. What I mean by that is both in The Mandalorian Season 1 and 2, each episode felt like a mini-series. It was either Mando trusting someone and it going sideways, or was Mando having to do something for someone to help him on his quest. This season was a bit different. Once he had bathed within the living waters beneath the mines of Mandalore, he joined back with his Mandalorian crew, and they stuck together for the rest of the season. Another great thing about this season was how much world building there was. We got our first live action look at Coruscant after the downfall of the Empire, and it was really great to see. We also got a closer look at the New Republic and at the Imperial remnants and how much power they actually have. We have a greater insight as to what has happened during the Mandalorian Purge, as well as how Moff Gideon took control of Mandalore and the Darksaber. We also got a continuation of what happened to Grogu at the Jedi Temple, and how he escaped from Order 66. Out of everyone that was going to save Grogu, I never thought it would be Jar Jar. But in all honesty, it was great to see Ahmed Best back in Star Wars again, and this time the fans really liking him and supporting him. There were some good highs of this season, mixed in with the already good stories and characters. It is a bit less plain than the first season, and to me it was more interesting. We really got to deep dive into Mandalore and the Mandalorians, and because of this aspect of Mandalore and seeing Moff Gideon fight for the throne of Mandalore, I would say that this season is better than the first one. There were definitely many more highs in this season than there was in season 1. But overall, I would say it's not as good as season 2. And now moving on to first place, the best season of The Mandalorian, and that is season 2. Season 2 was absolutely great, with many really good episodes, partly because of the cameos and what those characters did. Compared to season 1 and even season 3, season 2 had a lot of different characters that we all know and love across the galaxy. And it wasn't just fan service. All the characters that were brought back served the story, and it actually makes sense. There weren't any characters involved that just popped out of nowhere without any explanation, like Palpatine did in episode 9. They were important to the story of the Mandalorian, and the Mandoverse in general. It set up things like the Ahsoka show and her hunt for Thrawn. We also got to see the return of the real Boba Fett, and he was really badass in this show. We got to see more of the Empire and how the Imperial remnants are a bit more than remnants. We got the introduction of the Dark Troopers in live action. They are both cool and tough. Speaking of Dark Troopers, there can be no mention of Season 2 without the finale. This was the best live action Star Wars episode to date, and for good reason. We got to see the Mandalorian going on Moff Gideon's cruiser to save Grogu. This led to the Mandalorian defeating Moff Gideon and taking control of the Darksaber. And of course, the best part of the episode was seeing Luke return and save Grogu from the Dark Troopers. We got a sick hallway scene, and his reveal of looking like he did in Return of the Jedi was a really special moment. This was again a peak moment in Star Wars that everyone agreed was good. It is much better than the Season 3 finale, which is a big reason for it being in first place. Now don't get me wrong, the Season 3 finale was great. We got to see Moff Gideon's clones and him fighting Bo-Katan in his Dark Trooper suit. We saw him demolish the Darksaber, and then with the help of Din Djarin and Grogu, Bo-Katan managed to defeat the man that took so much from her and her people. However, it doesn't compare to Luke coming back. Another reason as to why this is first is because this season was better paced than Season 3. Season 3 was a bit behind, and it's partly why I think the finale wasn't so well received. There seemed to be so much more to be done, and it was just a quick 40-minute episode. It was all a bit crammed and rushed, and it showed. So to recap, the worst Mandalorian season was Season 1, and the best was Season 2. I still very much enjoyed Season 3, and as always, I'm excited for what's next. Although to be honest, I think that none of these seasons will compare to what is yet to come in the Ahsoka show. I think that will easily be the best live action Star Wars show, with some episodes even surpassing the Season 2 finale. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel to not miss out on any more Star Wars content. Comment down below your ranking for all 3 seasons of The Mandalorian. Click the video on screen, and apart from that, have a great day.